I think it's time to do an oil change on my Toyota Hiace. So let's see how that's done. Guess we could use a little more light in here. Let's just open that up, make it a little brighter. So here's what we're working with today. We have one of these filters. Now, something about this filter, if you buy it online, is they have two different types. They have one that's made in Thailand and one that's made in Japan. Some people say the Japanese one's better. You know, who knows? This thing weighs like 2 pounds. It's a pretty big filter. If you've ever priced one of these filters, they're kind of expensive, like 30 bucks each. And I just got some Shell Rotella, 15 weight 40. And that's the oil I'm using today. Everyone has an opinion on oil. Have you ever been on like a message board or a forum and asked what type of oil to use? It usually ends up with 1,000 posts, and you have all these engineers and people that have sent oil off to a lab, and do some research and come to your own conclusion on that. So the first thing we need to do is just pop the hood and say, would you look at that?
You know, when I see a car like this, first thing I do is I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, there we go. Now, would you look at that? All right, hopefully the lighting is okay. I wanted to do this outside where it's brighter, but it's kind of breezy today, and I really didn't want oil blowing all over my driveway. So right there is our filter, and if you look, it's in a little cradle, and there is a little hole in the bottom with a hose that goes down underneath that catches all the oil. So whenever you unscrew that, you're going to have a bunch of oil pour out. Well, it's going to go in that little cup, that little funnel, and it's going to drain down under here. Let's take a look at that. And drain out right here in this little teeny hose, right next to your oil drain plug on the oil pan. So that's pretty convenient. I think it's pretty cool that Toyota was thinking about how people are going to maintenance these and made it easy so you don't have so much of a mess. That's pretty cool. And in case you didn't know, this is your oil dipstick. Back there is going to be your automatic transmission dipstick. So time to prepare. So I've got some cardboard down just in case. Anyways, we're going to put that in there. And then we got a 14 millimeter. Need a 14 millimeter to undo that drain pan plug. So let's go ahead and try it out. Now, if this is your first time changing oil on a diesel, just be aware that the oil will always be black. And that's because in the fuel, there's sulfur, and that helps lubricate the internals of like the injection system. And when that burns, it creates that black soot. Like when you see like big trucks romp on it, you get the big black smoke, that's the soot. Well, some of that leaks past the rings and gets into the oil and makes the oil black. Now we need to remove the filter, and you may need a filter wrench, and I think I do, but I don't have one with me because we are moving, and I moved my toolbox to the storage unit. But I might have some big channel locks. Arr, I'm going to bite you. Ah. So I tried with those channel locks, and it didn't budge. So I'm going to go to my storage unit and see if I can find a filter wrench. If not, I'll have to go to O'Reilly's and buy one. So the cool thing about driving Volkswagens is that you always have check engine light. So I have to switch to a voiceover because I didn't realize that my microphone was turned off when I got back from my storage unit. I did find a filter strap, so we put that around the filter, and I am working to get that budged, and it does come off. So once we get this filter unscrewed, we'll have some oil start to drip out of it, and it will get collected in that little cup and drain into the little hole. And if we come down underneath, we will see that oil dripping out of that little hose next to the oil drain plug. Now, I don't know about you, but I love how clean this is. So now I am preparing to pull the filter out. I got my cardboard down to protect the carpet, and I didn't really have any oil drip out, which was nice. Now this filter is a Japanese filter. This was on the van when I imported it, so this might be a good cross-reference. Might be able to find this filter online. It seems to be a pretty good filter. Who knows? It was on the van though. Now I am going to clean that catch cup, get all the oil out of it so it doesn't get all gross and nasty. And then I'm going to take a little bit of brake cleaner and spray it down the hose that goes down towards the drain plug so I do not have black oil dripping out of that hose for the next week onto my driveway. Now let's install this new filter. We just need to remove that plastic wrap, and luckily that O-ring is already pre-lubed so we don't have to put any oil on it. Get it threaded on there and get it hand tightened good. Keep tightening, and about that tight right there. Oh yeah, we'll call it good. Here I'm blabbering about something, but look how clean that filter is. Now let's thread in the drain plug. Make sure we have our gasket on there. Crawl under there, we'll move that oil catch pan over, and we'll start threading that plug in there and getting it tight. And I don't know what the torque setting is. It's probably like 18 foot-pounds. I've done it 100 times, so I know not to strip it out. So let's go ahead and start pouring in the oil. We're going to get it all in there, and the capacity for this is 7.4 quarts. Of course, that's what I read on the internet, and of course, when I pulled the dipstick, the oil level was super high. It was way past the full mark. Now, if you can tell, the oil is up to the text. It should be way back here, and that's where the full mark is. But I am assuming that maybe once I start it up and get the oil circulated through the filter and through the engine, maybe it will relax and be where it should be. Now don't forget to put the oil cap back on and stand back and look at this beauty. Would you look at that? And this was a very minimal mess. Looking underneath, I don't have any oil on the ground. And after I poured all the waste oil back into the jug, I just had a little spill on my cardboard from the container. I'm going to go to trip B and clear that out. And the service interval for this is 5,000 kilometers. So like every 3,000 miles, you'll want to change the oil. All right, so I started the engine up and I backed it out into the yard, and I am pretty pleased because now I am right at the full mark, right where it should be. So yeah, 7.4 quarts is exactly what it takes. And once you start it up and get the oil circulated through the engine, it comes out to be right where it needs to be. Well, that's how we change the oil and oil filter on a Hiace. If you want to know how to change the fuel filter, click on this video right here. But until next time, enjoy.